Porsche Carrera Cup Asia is in Mandalika on the island of Lombok, and we're ready to go for the final race of Super Sunday, the final race in the triple header that makes up the final round of the Endurance Cup. Hi folks, Arjuna Kankipati in the broadcast booth, and with Dylan Pereira and Bao Long crowning themselves overall champions in our sprint race earlier today, the stakes have been settled for them. For lots of the other drivers, plenty of storylines still to work their way through as we head our way into the final 3 rounds of the championship. This Endurance Cup race and then 2 more sprint races on the streets of Singapore. That's what all comes in store for these drivers. Let's head down to the grid though, get a sense of the atmosphere, catch up with Sammy and Steve.
欢迎大家回到曼达里卡国际赛车道，准备观看亚洲保时捷凯雷拉杯2025年赛季第12回合的赛事直播。Now we are back in Mandalika for round 12 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2025 season, which this round is an endurance race and it's going to be a rolling start. It's super hot right now. Let's hear from our pit reporter, Steve Dawson. How's it going?
Super hot, you're absolutely right. Congratulations, first of all, to Dylan Pereira, who is now confirmed as the winner of the overall category. He won't be starting on pole, though. Ahead of him, Enzo Trulli, who's just sitting over there to my left, trying to get some shade. And also Marcus Armand, the phenom of this weekend. He's already won 2 races, looking for the hat-trick here in the endurance race. Bao Long, also worthy of our congratulations. He's been confirmed champion, and he's in pole position amongst the Pro-Ams. Brotherly love continues. Eric and Henry Kwong, they are in P12 and P13 respectively, so their battle will resume. And among the Masters, big advantage for Adrian Silva because he's in P14, and that is at least 5 places ahead of all of the other drivers in the Masters category. So lots of fun to be had in this extra long race on a hot Sunday afternoon.
Yes, it's going to be a very tight competition, especially for the M class and the Master class. Thank you very much, Steve. Let's watch some highlights from the race earlier on today.
And an interesting race, to say the very least. Good drop of the clutch from Marcus Armand as he led us into the opening corner. Some moves further behind as Henry Kwong and Eric Kwong did battle in through the opening corner. That was, of course, the story of the AM class in the race. Unfortunately for Roy Tang and for Jackie Wu, they came together in the early stages. Roy Tang has been given a penalty for his part in that 3-place grid penalty to be served in this endurance race. And Dylan Yip had to carve his way through the field after dropping back in the early stages, and so that really kept the Masters, AM and Pro-Am drivers all on their tiptoes. Oscar Target put the pressure on until a mechanical issue sent him down to pit lane, and this was the fight at the front in the Masters class as Adrian De Silva went from 4th to 1st, and it took some work to get past Christian Chia at the very front of the field. Traffic did play its part for the pro leaders, including a moment with Roy Tang going off the track and then bobbling back on, but all as Marcus Armand led from flag to flag, once again victorious on the Mandalika International Circuit in the Team Better Life number 9. But that, if you will, was the appetizer to set the tone for the longer race, with track temperature scorching temperature also building in the cockpit. It's gone up to 30 degrees the air temperature. We were at 26 earlier this morning, but even that small 4-degree difference is going to make a big impact for the drivers actually behind the wheel. Once we get rolling, that cockpit going to feel rather stuffy, you would have to assume. What's the track temperature like? 48 degrees in the first sprint yesterday, 36 degrees in the sprint race earlier today. But let's go down and get a temperature of the grid as Steve wanders up and down on his grid walk.
Well, welcome to the grid, everyone. It is extensive and it is really, really hot. So let's have a word with some of the drivers and some of the engineers and what have you. Enzo Trulli's been particularly sensible, taking some shade under an umbrella. Can I join you in the shade for a little bit?
Come in the shade.
You guys have been out here for quite a while, haven't you? Because there's been a few sort of processions and we had some musical entertainment. You must be getting hotter and hotter, and that car must be heating up too.
Yeah, the car will be very hot. Plus, it's a long race, so it will be tough to manage it. But it's the same for everyone, so it's okay.
It's been particularly competitive for the 3 of you at the front of the grid this weekend. Are you relaxed about things?
Yeah, the pace in the race has been always strong. It's hard to overtake, we saw it, but we can push the other guy to do a mistake. So everything can happen, and I will stay focused. And the pace will be strong. I don't know if for sure it will be a longer race. So tires management also comes in place. Let's see. It will be interesting.
Part of that management is staying on the driver's line, right? Because it gets slippery once you get pushed off.
Yeah, as soon as you go out, you lose a lot.
Okay. All right. Well, stay cool, and we'll get hot outside.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Let's have a wander across the grid then. We've got Enzo's car here, and I was just being informed that this is, this tape here on the front of the car. These cars go so quickly. There's a slight risk that maybe the bonnet will ride up as the speed comes. So there's this Porsche-approved tape on every car that keeps the bonnet nicely in place. We don't want any mishaps as that's going on. So as we go down the grid here, let's see who else we might be able to have a word with. This is Dylan Pereira's car. Dylan, of course, already confirmed as the driver's champion. I wonder where Dylan is at the moment. Bao Jinlong just walking along. There's Bao, another champion, already confirmed, walking all over to his car. He's a few rows back. Let's have a word with Dylan Yip. Dylan, can we have a quick chat? I know you're on your way to your car here. What have you been up to in the last couple of hours since the last race?
At the pit?
Yeah, have you been keeping yourself fresh on time?
I'm good. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Do you have something to eat?
Yeah. It's something normal.
Can't take on too much. Well, you don't want to weigh down the car with too much food, do you?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not gonna take a kilo of food. Yeah.
Good for you. Okay. Well hydrated?
Yeah.
Okay. Look forward to seeing you drive. Okay. Dylan will head to his car. Martin, can I have a word with you? How have things been going since the first race earlier this morning?
So our first race was quite straightforward, really. We had a bit of incident for rest in P2, but yeah, it was good. And since then, it's just been, finish off everything, set everything up, and then go for the long race.
We're not ready to conclude the season yet. There's still a Singapore weekend to go, but already some things have been concluded. How do you guys look back at the season that you've had so far? There must be some pride involved.
Yeah, we've won. I think we've won every race bar one for the start of the season to now. So yeah, from this point of view, it's really good for the team. And now we've finished the championship in Pro and Pro-Am. So again, to have that done 4 rounds to go is quite nice. So yeah.
Can you give us a little tribute to Dylan? Your thoughts on him as a driver?
Dylan's done a really good job this year. He's won every race up to this season. Okay, we got a penalty in the first race this year, but he won every race on track. You can't really fault him for that point of view. He gets in the car, drives like a pro, and works efficiently.
All right, good luck again today.
Cheers, thank you.
All right, I see Hugo Ellis over here. Let's have a word with Hugo. As if it's not hot enough already, he's got his headgear on. Are you trying to make sure you don't get burnt? Because I've already got burnt, Hugo. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yourself?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Saw you upstairs having a nice, relaxing lunch. Is that the best way? I think your parents were there as well, I think. Did you have a nice... No?
No, just my girlfriend.
Okay. So you had a nice, relaxing lunch. Is that the best way to prepare for a race? Just relax and maybe take your mind off what's coming up?
I think so. As long as you can keep cool, I think that's the best alternative.
Yeah. When do you start to get focused in terms of the number of minutes before the 5 red lights go out?
Wow, already? Yeah.
Even though it's really hot here?
Well, you have to, don't you?
All right. Okay. All right. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Cecily, come, let me have a word with you. This is the hardest working lady on the grid, Team Jebsen. Yeah. How's the season gone for you so far, do you think?
I feel very good because here is nice weather, nice track, and good show. And if today we get better result, that's perfect.
And isn't it gorgeous here? I mean, you walk outside the track, the scenery here, the weather, the sea, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. Because we stay in a nice hotel, so we have an opportunity to look around.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. All right, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Hope it goes well for you. We might have a word with Rodrigo, actually.
Yeah, sure.
Come, let's have a word with Rodrigo Dos Almeida. Driving car number 55, just getting his earpieces in. He's done well because he's taken them out so that we can talk to him. Rodrigo, how have things been going since the last race? You've been taking on a little bit of food and lots of hydration?
Yeah, for sure. We took a lot of water because it's quite hot down here. But yeah, we need a lot of water to keep hydrated for this long race, 45 minutes, so 29 laps could be a lot, but it will be fun.
Now you're on row 4. Does that mean that, 29 laps, as you say, there's a lot of opportunity for you to make some ground?
Yeah, for sure. There is need to keep constant until the end and don't do mistakes. It will be a long race, so we keep it up until the end.
I assume you're loaded with more fuel, seeing as you're doing a longer race. Does that change the drive of the car, and you got more fuel on board?
yeah, for sure, it's more weight on board, so we are slower in the beginning, but in the end we could be faster. But yeah, we need to manage also the tires until the end, so it will be fast and fun.
Stay safe.
Thank you, man.
That's Rodrigo dos Almeidas. Interesting, that one. All of these drivers will have to contend with more fuel in the car, so it will affect the quality of the drive and how difficult that drive is. And there is the small matter of the Endurance Cup to be sorted out. So in the Endurance Cup, we take all 3 races from the 2 weekends where we've had an endurance race, total everything up. And unlike the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia season, this one, the Endurance Cup, is still open to be contested. Still possibilities that we can get a result here today. Of course, Dylan Pereira is one of the drivers who's up for that, and also Enzo Trulli could possibly win that. Dylan O'Keefe is here. Dylan, how have you found this weekend? It's been good to see you in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's been a pretty challenging weekend for us because in qualifying we lost the front splitter in both runs, which was super unfortunate. We didn't have that problem in free practice, so just a bit of a great shame, but good to be here on the grid. The pro class is super competitive. That's why it's a bit tricky to move forward, but I feel we're in a good spot for this race 3 with the car, so we'll try and push forward.
It's a shame that you were hampered a bit in qualifying, but an opportunity here because this is a longer race, so more chance to work your way up the grid, presumably?
That's it, and our car's been managing the tyres really well across the race distance, so hopefully if I can keep the tyres under me, come the end we'll be picking a few more off.
All right, Dylan, good luck.
Cheers, thanks.
All right, that's Dylan O'Keefe. All right, hope you've enjoyed this little trip down the grid. We'll see if we can do this once or twice more before the end of the season. Back to our commentators.
Oh, I love that. Grid walk with Steve Dawson and a chance to catch up with some of the personalities that, sometimes we don't always get to celebrate. Sometimes we just focus on the drivers. Love that. Again, confirmation, Dylan Pereira, Team Shanghai Honda BWT, crowning themselves as champion with 3 races left to play. Enzo Trulli is 20 points clear of Hugo Ellis in the fight for second, while Brock Kilchrist almost a further 20 points further back. Rodrigo Diaz Almeida in that Team Jebsen 55. He's 5th in the overall classification, and there is still something to be settled between second and down in the championship. Drivers wanting to end on a high. Only 2 Pro-Am drivers here this weekend, Bao Jinlong and Francis Chia, and Bao Jinlong, a 6-time now Porsche Carrera Cup Asia Pro-Am champion. He said on the grid previously that 60% chance we see him next year, hoping we do see him back to defend the championship. Munkong Setianturukun is not here after what has been an amazing season up to this point. Eric Kwong and Henry Kwong have taken advantage to shrink the gap to the championship leader, but only 5 points split them. Henry Kwong making the move on Eric Kwong in the closing stages of race 2 earlier this morning. And then the Masters, it's down to 2 points between Christian Chia and Adrian De Silva as we look to crown our very first Masters champion in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. A brand new championship within the championship, brand new class I should say, but these are all drivers with experience in the series, so great to see them have a chance to celebrate a new champion at the end of the season. That will go all the way to the wire at Singapore. Here's a look at the track analysis. It's 4.31 0 kilometers long with 17 turns as the Mandalika International Circuit, and with a blend of medium and high-speed corners, it's a relatively high downforce track, but there are some low traction zones that you have to be aware of, and maybe some passing opportunities coming out of them. So turn 1 and turn 10, keep an eye on those particular corners of the track, especially with the fast flowing sections 7, 8 and 9, flat out in a GT3 car with its extra downforce, but in these GT3 Cup cars, not so. A little feather of the throttle commitment required as well. And obviously, I probably talked about this a bit too much in the previous race. Track limits might be a talking point, because in each of the previous 2 races, we have had penalties come down for that. Finally, a look at our track temperature provided to us by our friends at Michelin. 52 degrees Celsius. That is 4 degrees Celsius warmer than yesterday's sprint race was on the track. And we've got to go a further 12 laps or so. That's what Rodrigo Diaz Almeida was giving us the information. One thing that's also slightly different is we will have a rolling start as opposed to the standing start, and Marcus Amon will be on the right side of the track as opposed to the left side of the track where he has placed himself in every single one of the races so far. So the field pulls away, gets the energy into their Michelin tyres, and starts to build up. Let's take a look at our starting grid then, where once more the flying Finn, Marcus Amond, will be at the front in the Team Better Life number 9, looking to make it a perfect weekend, lights the flag once again. Enzo Trulli has got to finish at the front of the field and hope Dylan Pereira has a DNF to win the Endurance Cup in that Toro Racing 99. He'll be second, and Pereira, our champion, is third in the Team Shanghai Honda BWT machine. He's got Brock Gilchrist alongside in the Team Porsche New Zealand number 10, while Oscar Target, mechanical issues hopefully put to one side, is fifth in the EBM number 76. Hugo Ellis in the Sime Motors racing car is sixth on the grid, with Josh Rowledge hoping to charge his way forward from 7th in the Team WeTrade PGR number 8. Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida in that Team Jebsen 55. He'll line up on the outside of row number 4. Dylan O'Keefe, interesting to hear in qualifying, he lost the splitter not once but twice in the Toro Racing 77. He's 9th, with Dylan Yip to his outside in the Phantom Global racing car, and hoping for a trouble-free race to close the weekend, I would say. Baojin Long, he is 11th in the BWT Phantom G racing car, with Eric Kwong, the AM pole sitter, alongside the Pro-Am pole sitter. Francis Chia is directly behind his only rival in the field in the Open Road Racing number 21, while Henry Kwong directly behind his brother as they look to resume the battle for the AM win. Hubo is 15th in the 610 Racing number 22. He'll have Jackie Wu, the highest place on the Masters drivers in the Porsche-owned Retail 69 team, alongside Open Road Racing, Christian Chia 17th. EBM's Adrian De Silva in 18th, as we really think about those Masters drivers fighting out for every point towards the tail end of the field. 610 Racing and Roy Tang 19th, and then John Shen, Modena Motorsports, in the outside of row 10. Yen Chuang lines up at the very back of the field as we roll our way 2 by 2 through the final sector here at the Mandalika International Circuit. It's been a great first visit for the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia to the island of Lombok, joining up, of course, with the Porsche Sprint Challenge Indonesia. And now a full field of 21 Porsche Cup cars out of the final quarter and lined up 2 by 2. Marcus Amond on the right side of the track, Enzo Trulli on the left. As the lights go out, we're racing for the final time this weekend. It's even, and Amond is being pinched by Trulli up towards the brake zone of turn 1. He'll try and now maybe squeeze and get to the inside as Amond overcooks it. He drops down to 5th position through all of that. Dylan Pereira charges up the inside and takes the lead away from Enzo Trulli. Brock Gilchrist settles into 3rd. Oscar Target into 4th as Marcus Amond tries to now make amends for that slip up down at turn number 1. He's tucked in behind Josh Rowledge as there goes the 16, unfortunately, around. That is John Shen. Out through 8 for the first time of asking. Where does Marcus Amond settle into line? He's behind Dylan O'Keefe in the 77. And Hugo Ellis now doing battle with Team Jebsen's Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida behind them, as Baojin Long that feels he can now take the fight to Dylan Yip. Remember, he said that he feels like he's got a new driving style. It's not clicked all the way just yet, and he wants to start fighting a bit more with the pro machines and maybe get onto the pro podium by the end of the season. Enzo Trulli is under pressure though here. Brock Gilchrist, Oscar Target, and then Josh Rowledge all stacked up behind. Dylan Pereira opens up the final quarter. He has got such a lead that he didn't think that he needed to cover the inside. He looks like he's got a car that is here to dance after sorting the issues from race 1 yesterday. Yes, he spun at the end of the second sprint this morning, but whatever gremlins that he was fighting had been put to one side. First lap in the books. Pereira almost 1 second clear of Enzo Trulli, defending from Brock Gilchrist as Marcus Amond sends it up the inside of Dylan O'Keefe. Toro Racing 77 doesn't want to fight too much too early. The Toro Racing 99 is having to defend for all it's worth. Here comes the Team Porsche New Zealand machine alongside Brock Gilchrist, trying to now cut back underneath, but this is into the far sequence. Remember, this is a 45-minute timed affair, which We are expecting to be about 12 laps longer than each of the 17 lap sprints we've seen so far, preserving those Michelin tires with the 52 degrees Celsius track temperature. A challenge for the drivers. Diaz Almeida getting a good run through the twisty stuff as he tries to now find a way past Hugo Ellis. Pro-Am now running 11th and 12th, so Francis Chia has a chance to try and close on the back of Bao Jinlong, as there goes the move from Marcus Amond up the inside of Josh Rowledge into the penultimate corner. Turn 16 sees the spots change hands, and Amond is back up into the top 5. We're going to get a good sense here of what the young Finn has got in terms of fight back. Can he claw his way back up to the front of the field? Hubo now sits at the front of the AM class in front of both Henry Kwong, but also Eric Kwong, who's dropped to the back of the field. The only car that he's in front of right now is John Shen, the other car that seemingly has had an issue. Jackie Wu still holds the lead in the Masters class as we dip under 40 minutes left on the clock. 39 minutes and counting on the third lap, or rather the second lap of the race. Once again, Hugo Ellis forced to go defensive in that Side Motors machine as he battles with Rodrigo Diaz Almeida. Now Dylan Yip's there too. Dylan has had an interesting weekend. He had to start at the back of race number 1, which meant that he was fighting all the way through Masters, AM and Pro-Am machines to get onto the back of the rest of his class effectively. And then a spin at the start of race 2 saw him have to do the same thing once again. We had a quick look at Eric Kwong for a moment as Josh Rowledge and Dylan O'Keefe start to do battle in and amongst themselves. Dylan O'Keefe, who's been racing in Porsche Cup cars, not every year, but first competed in 2015 in what is now the Porsche Sprint Challenge Australia, but continuing to stay in contact with one of the most pure forms of racing you can get. No ABS, no traction control, and it's really seeing Hugo Ellis feel the pressure right now, just trying to be consistent behind the wheel of the 38, the Side Motors racing car. It's a slightly deeper shade of blue on the Team Jebsen machine that now tries to switch back underneath, and these are 3 cars all on top of one another right now. Dylan Yip is looking hungry as well to fight his way forward. Ellis chops down low, blocks the inside, and that commits the Jebsen machine the long way around. Now Diaz Almeida can use that space on offer, but there's another right-hander coming. He's left on the outside, and also looking now as Dylan Yip is going to shove his way down low. Some great racing in this endurance race. I think what we're seeing is there's a distinct lack of grip with the track temperature having risen so much. Very, very difficult to not just put the power down to the rear wheels, but manage the balance of the car. A bit wide for Dylan O'Keefe there, as they complete yet another lap, with Dylan Pereira setting the tone, a 1:32.895 last time by. He's 1.6 seconds clear of Enzo Trulli, who in turn is now a full second in front of Brock Gilchrist. Enzo Trulli responds with a 1:32.7. He steals back the fastest lap, and the fastest lap point that goes with it too. Oscar Target in the teal EBM 76, stepping in to replace Munkong Satien Tirukun on short notice. Now passed by Marcus Simon. He's back up to 4th position, and only 3.6 seconds off of Dylan Pereira. Such an interesting circuit in so many ways. Obviously, it's had its share of history with MotoGP and motorcycle racing in general coming here, but hasn't necessarily always seen too much four-wheel action. GT3 cars came here for the first time with GT World Challenge in 2025. That was very interesting to follow along with. But it's been exciting to bring not just the Porsche Sprint Challenge Indonesia to Mandalika for a second year, but for the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia to join the billing as well. So Hubo versus Henry Kwong. This is the fight at the front of the AM class. Now, with Eric Kwong dropping back, this is an opportunity for Henry Kwong to take over the championship lead. Eric did have a 12-point advantage over Henry in the Endurance Cup points headed into this round, which, doing the quick math off the top of my head, I think still would mean that Eric would be in the driver's seat to win. Yes, in fact, unless he finishes at the very back, which is the case right now. So right now it is going in the direction of Henry Kwong. Only if he can get his way past Hubo. That's the situation. If Henry wins the race and Eric finishes at the back of the class, that should be enough points for the 91 machine to leapfrog his brother and win the Endurance Cup. Marcus Timon, obviously the one that will grab the headlines in terms of our guest drivers as Oscar Target slips off the track. But Oscar's someone who I think we need to keep our eyes on as well. Not just because he jumped into the booth with Richard Krelze earlier this year, coming for the commentator's job, it would seem. But the 2024 Porsche Sprint Challenge Australia champion, and we did actually see him in 2024 joining us for the opening round of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia at the Shanghai International Circuit. Finished 5th and 6th, if my memory serves. We're back in the championship, and in race 1 he showed that he could stay at the front with Amon, with Trulli, with Carrera, and finish just a couple of car lengths behind them. So here's a look at the rolling start as instantly Enzo Trulli cuts alongside and tries to pinch the flying Finn, almost rubbing door handles as they worked into the brake zone for the first time. But you could see the jockeying for position, no 3 wide up to the braking zone at the very least. But there's the moment that Amon just overcooks it, overcommits, maybe because he's on that slightly pinched and compromised line. And Dylan Pereira sweeping through from 3rd to 1st. Clinical move from our champion. And someone driving like that weight's been lifted off his shoulders as well. Although I tell you what, Enzo Trulli, last couple of laps has been chipping away at that gap that was established in the early stages. Once again through the final couple of corners, the long right-hander before the almost 90-degree left to complete the lap. Just a reminder, Endurance Cup is still up for grabs in the Pro class, but it did need a situation where Dylan Pereira would be a DNF and Enzo Trulli wins the race for that to change around. So Dylan Pereira could have a double championship weekend here at Mandalika, not just securing the overall 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia Championship, but also locking down the Endurance Cup. To get back to Oscar Target, another twist in his story was he missed the opening round of the 2023 Porsche Sprint Challenge. He had actually been testing some race cars when he got a call from his doctor that in a couple of weeks' time he was going for open heart surgery. Very quick recovery in terms of then getting back in the race car, but a very resilient driver is Oscar Target. Now, that left front tire for Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, let's hope it's resilient, because he's probably got a flat spot now that's going to be vibrating around. And Dylan Yip has slipped through and grabbed 9th position away from him. It's so easy to lock a brake. The way to often think about it is the tire can do 100% either in a straight line or going left to right in a lateral direction. Can't do both of them. Now Adrian De Silva, is he aware of that? Jinx to the inside. This is the fight with Christian Chia. At the front of the championship are these two drivers. Adrian De Silva doesn't overcommit. There are 2 points that split these two in the championship. Could this be a class where the championship is decided by a single point? Christian Chia's gone a little bit wide. Does this give the chance for De Silva to slip up the inside? He's definitely thinking about it. There's John Shen slightly further back in the number 16 with the flames on it. De Silva unable to get underneath in the EBM 61. Shows himself in the mirror, applies the mental pressure. Some good racing here between veterans in the series. Now can Adrian De Silva once again dummy down to the inside late? He's going to try and set it up out of turn 1. It's a short run into the next braking zone at turn 2. Not really close enough to even offer a look. Jackie Wu is having a great race right now to find himself a full 8 seconds clear of these two. Although maybe that is also just related to management. Could he be using up his tires a little bit quicker in this race? Definitely have to keep that in mind. To turn 10. Once again, a look, this time to the outside from De Silva. Very, very patient. Meanwhile, Josh Rowledge in front of him, Hugo Ellis. Behind him, Dylan O'Keefe. Into turn 1. Ellis holding on to what is 6th position now. Already have seen a couple of track limits warnings start to pop up, including for Hubo, who's dropped behind Henry Kwong, who now leads in that AM class. So that would see him not only leapfrog in front of his brother in the overall classification, but do the same in the Endurance Cup points as well. Meanwhile, Josh Rowledge, now another driver to lock the left front tire, and that was a little bit deeper into the corner. Dylan O'Keefe can't take advantage though. He's a bit too far back. Half shows his nose in through the right-hander, and Rowledge with a bit of a bobble. Oh, changes hands as the position in through turn 12. Dylan Yip on the outside. Uses the speed and grabs that spot too. So Rowledge loses a couple of positions in the blink of an eye. Is he going to now be in for a long 27 minutes? From this point, we don't really have much more racing than what we had in the sprint races. This should be around 18 laps or so left in the race, I would think. Marc Simon, by the way, is starting to work on the back of Oscar Target in the EBM 76. That's for 4th position. And Josh Rowledge has dropped behind Bao Jin Long, so I'm wondering if that flat spot was quite significant. That was a big lock-up into the brake zone at turn 10. And yeah, he's had to come straight into pit lane, although they're looking at the right side, left side, guys. Yeah, there you go. Message has gone through, and they've had to change it. The problem with a flat spot is what happens is you drag the tire along the ground without it rotating, and so that, like the name implies, creates a flat spot. But because it's not a round tire anymore, it's often you think of vibrations as being the main impact, but if you lock it up bad enough, it's not a smooth ride, right? You can kind of picture what's going to happen if you shave part of the tire off. And so no choice for Josh Rowledge. That is, I'm sure, a slightly frustrating moment for him, given that he has shown some speed this weekend. Marcus Simon has dropped back slightly from Oscar Target, with the target on his back. Sorry, I had to. And for Oscar, he got the call after, I believe he was testing on Monday, that he was going to be called up for the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia to jump in for Munkong. So then had to go through the mechanisms of getting his visa, the paperwork and all of that fun stuff. Christian Chia and Adrian De Silva, they're doing the fun stuff. They are going wheel to wheel, but they've swapped positions. De Silva's grabbed second. And let's see if he's going to make inroads in what is an 11.5 second lead that Jackie Wu has in class. "11 seconds sounds like a lot, but again, if these drivers have used up a bit too much of the tire life at the start of the race, that could compromise them the further we go." It's just come through on the race control notes that the race start was reviewed. No further action for any of the incidents there. Not sure that I saw too much that warranted a penalty or any further action from the stewarding team, but as ever, they review the camera angles, pick their way through the various things to look at. So 2 consecutive laps now that Marcus Amond has lost quite a considerable amount of speed. He had a 1:35.421 last time by, so that was about 2 seconds slower than your race leader. A 1:34.4 this time by. As we look at Bao Jinlong, confirmed once more as Pro-Am champion of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. And still adapting that driving style that he says can get even better. A third warning for track limits has come down to Hubo, so as Bao Jinlong dips a wheel off the gravel. Bao actually said it post-race for race 2. He was still running off the track in that second sprint race, just didn't get the time penalty. So learning that limit that you can use the track on offer was one of the things that he picked up between the first and second race. There's the 21 of Francis Chia as he works out through the middle sector of the lap. Sure, interesting weekend for both Bao Jinlong and Francis Chia, because when you only have, one other car in your class to really compare yourself against and to be competing against, you're often sometimes also just trying to be better than yourself, right? You're trying to improve over the weekend and say, right, if I'm not going to beat Bao Jinlong, or if Bao Jinlong's case, he's got enough of a gap to Francis Chia, then you start to look at your other targets, because heading off to Marina Bay, you know that it's not going to be easy. Hasn't been easy for Henry Kwong either. A spin in race 1, but made up for that with a brilliant move on his brother in the closing stages of race 2 to grab the win in this AM class. And with Hubo and Yen Chuang second and third, Roy Tang not far behind them. Eric Kwong's not too far off the pace either now. This AM class has been where a lot of the action has been this weekend. It's been great to watch. Obviously for Henry Kwong, that fight for second in the championship is closing up. It's not going to be close enough, I think, for Munkong Satien Tirakun to be too worried about the AM championship going into those final 2 races, assuming that we do see Munkong back with us. But if he's not there for whatever reason, it could mean that Henry Kwong and Eric Kwong are fighting for top honors. Eric Kwong was the first ever AM champion back in 2021. His brother was second that year. They flipped around in the next year, 2022, when we debuted this generation of 992 Cup car, which is going to be out on track for its final 3 races in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, including this race. Enzo Trilli is 2.5 seconds now behind Dylan Pereira as we have crossed the halfway mark of this endurance round. It's about even between those top 3, the podium's positions, and even back to Oscar Target. And the pace for Marcus Amon does not stabilize. It's still in the 134s. So did he overdrive trying to close back up to the leaders? Now, Marcus does race Porsche Carrera Cup France, which runs the same, similar I would guess, maybe not the exact same, Michelin tire. Maybe there's some slight compound differences from track to track that you'll often see, but there's only one Porsche Carrera Cup that I can think of that doesn't run the Michelin tires, and that's the one over on my side of the world, in North America. So, for the most part, when drivers jump across of Carrera Cups, they have at least one thing, which is relatively common, and that's the tire, the contact patch underneath them. Dylan Pereira will probably be able to tell you better than I can, given his experience even at the Porsche Mobile 1 Super Cup level. Champion a couple of years ago in the top level of Porsche Super Cup action. And now 3.5 seconds to the good. That last lap saw Enzo Trulli make a bobble somewhere, and he's lost 7 tenths to Brock Gilchrist. Marcus Amon did a 135.2 last lap by, so Hugo Ellis is going to probably make light work of the 9. And by no means does this take away from the weekend that Amon has had. But it just goes to show how difficult sometimes it can be to execute perfectly for 3 consecutive races. And I'm sure he's got lots to take from this weekend, not just in terms of the trophies, but maybe some learning as well. Any race where you have to deal with the pressure of Dylan Pereira for 16 laps, and then you see him make the mistake, it's a pretty good learning experience. Me. So this is the recovery drive for Josh Rowledge as he had to pit to change that left front tire. He's made his way past Christian Chia. Next up will be Adrian De Silva, as we did see the black and white warning flag for Hubo in 2nd place in that AM class. So needs to be a bit careful to avoid any more track limit infringements, because that would see him get a time penalty. Brock Gilchrist has also been given a 3rd warning, so now that we have gotten close to the 30-minute mark, we're on lap 16, or about to close lap 17 of this race. So these tires past their sell-by date. Let's see what grip Marcus Amon still has underneath him to defend from Hugo Ellis. Josh Rowledge slips past Adrian De Silva as easy as you'd like, as he now just tries to salvage what he can in terms of testing for the remainder of this race. It looks like, I don't know if that's a trick of the camera or if that's just the fact that my eyes are playing games on me after a very long day, both with the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia but also trackside at VIR. It looks like there's some debris around the track. Now that's a great lunge from Hugo Ellis, very well judged, and Marcus Amon not wanting to fight him too hard as they enter now into turn 13. Is Marcus going to be as courteous when Dylan O'Keefe tries to now make his move? Not going to happen through the long turn 16, as some traffic is a factor for your race leaders. Oscar Target slips past the 16 machine of John Shen. There's not much, I think, worry for the pro cars yet, especially with Dylan Pereira having almost 5-second lead at this point over Enzo Trulli. But they may end up getting to Adrian De Silva and Christian Chia, who could be back in a fight for second in the Masters class. And traffic in a battle is what caused some intrigue in race 1 yesterday. That was the brief moment where Marcus Amon was a bit worried and Enzo Trulli, Dylan Pereira and Oscar Target all found themselves within around a second and a half. Let's go down though to Steve Dawson, who's going to be able to catch up with one of the drivers. 15 minutes left in this race.
I've got Ruben here from Team Better Life. Try and get some understanding of why Marcus Armand is a little bit slow off the grid today. What happened there, Ruben?
So by the looks of it, it looks like he lost the front lip, probably banging in some of the plastic bollards, and that affects a lot the aerodynamics of the car, so that's why we're seeing these sector times and Marcus losing pace.
Any thought of bringing him in and fixing that?
No, we will lose more than just leave him out.
Thanks, Ruben. Okay, back to commentators.
Thanks, Steve. Running up and down pit lane to get those answers. And it's hard to see, but now that it's been pointed out to me, you can see the splitter is missing. The same thing that afflicted Dylan O'Keefe in qualifying yesterday. It's that plastic sort of facade that sits underneath the bodywork. And it's a crucial aerodynamic component of the machine as well. And so that explains a lot. And you can see just how lethargic the car is in responding to the inputs now. He's done a great job, though, to continue fighting off as best he can. Hasn't lost much time to Hugo Ellis either. And yeah, that is not a quick fix, so agree with what the team was saying there, although he slips off the track on the outside of turn 6. You can see just how much he's hustling. So much more speed for Dylan O'Keefe to the inside at turn 10. Marcus Armand is a sitting duck right now. He'll try the crisscross, he'll try and get back underneath and power down. And around the outside, does Dylan O'Keefe stick it there? No. Doesn't want to damage the 77, especially given he knows exactly what Marcus is feeling right now. Now, I will just say, it does seem as though this is the kind of thing you self-inflict on yourself. Maybe from running some of the curves a bit too hard. Plastic bollards is what was mentioned in that interview with Steve. But again, that does seem to be somewhat at the control of the driver, right? To put yourself in the right position so you're not risking that damage. Maybe a word with Dylan O'Keefe with how it happened to him in qualifying would tell us a bit more. Now they do have traffic. They're coming up to the back of John Shen. Bao Junlong in the... Oh, rather not Bao Junlong. That's Dylan Yip, rather, in the Phantom Global Racing number 6. Oh, now that was a Marcus Armand, I think, just getting a little bit pressured by the traffic. Dylan O'Keefe seen an opportunity, and Marcus Armand is now down into 7th position. Now that shouldn't be counted as part of the track limits violations for Armand. He didn't gain any sort of an advantage from that by any means. Can Dylan Yip follow through? Yes, he can. Inside at turn 10. Slips past. And now he'll be the next driver in the rearview mirrors. Hustling Marcus Armand all the way around the lap. And all on Michelin tyres that have had to deal with the warmest track conditions we've seen this weekend. It was 52 degrees Celsius at the start of the race. And now officially having completed 19 laps of racing as well. Make that 20 for Dylan Pereira at the front of the field. Oscar Target's closed up to Brock Gilchrist, and here we go. We've got a fight. Team Porsche New Zealand machine trying to defend the final step on the podium. Will Oscar Target slip underneath? Not into turn 2. But they are working their way through traffic. Adrian De Silva directly in front of them. Now technically, Brock Gilchrist and Oscar Target running out of the same stable. Team Porsche New Zealand, supported by EBM or Bamba Motorsports. The team that, of course, not just Target running for, but Adrian De Silva as well. An instrumental part in the story of EBM is Adrian De Silva, having been part of the effort that saw Earl Bamber have success in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, and then go on to great success as a Porsche factory driver, and now full circle running a team not just in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, but in various global motorsports ranks, and very much helping to push forward the next generation of race driver as well. And I'll call it out again for Brock Gilchrist. He missed the 2 races at Motegi after having emergency surgery on his appendix, but he's only finished outside of the top 5 once. He's grabbed a whole handful of podiums. He could very well have been fighting Enzo Trulli for second in the championship. And a cool head on his shoulders. The lights flash from Oscar Target. That's not going to unsettle the machine in front of him. The 21-year-old holds on for the time being. But you can tell that Oscar's feeling hungry. Wants to make up for whatever mechanical failure or issue saw him pull into pit lane and retire from the second sprint race of the day, or the weekend. As another black and white warning, this time for the number 10, for Brock Gilchrist. And is that why he started to struggle? Oscar Target gets to the inside, through turn 11, makes his way forward, and grabs a podium spot. A great sequence there. Working on the back of the number 10 for a handful of laps before finally getting the job done. Meanwhile, back in the AM class, while his brother leads, Henry Kwong at the front of the field, it's Eric Kwong at the back, now trying to work past Roy Tang, who's making his debut in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia in that 610 machine. Singapore native is Roy Tang, and we're expecting to see him back on the grid for our final 2 races at Marina Bay. Here comes the lunge to the inside, in through turn 10. Plenty of space given on either side. Eric Kwong's got the position, up to 4th in class. Now, if I'm doing the math correctly, this means that Henry Kwong is going to grab 11 more points than Eric Kwong. The gap between them in the Endurance Cup points, 12 right now. So that was the move that Eric Kwong needed to make with 8 minutes left to go in this race. That should see him wrap up the Endurance Cup Championship in a handful of laps' time. Hugo Ellis now looks in the rearview mirror and sees Dylan O'Keefe and Marcus Amon not far behind, doing a good job even without the front splitter to hold up with the pace. Brock Gilchrist has just been given a time penalty for track limit violation, so that is going to potentially see him drop down the running order. It will all depend on how big the penalty is and where he finishes in relation to Hugo Ellis, who we watch now through the traffic, trying to defend from Dylan O'Keefe, who lunges up the inside at turn 16. Rubbing door handles the two of them. In through the final left-hander, Hugo Ellis has got the inside in the Sime Motors racing car, and he forces himself back into that spot. Here comes the Better Life number 9, Marcus Amon, without the front splitter. He's going to get himself back into this hunt, you know. They'll make their way past the 88 of Christian Chia, who wants no part of this three-way tussle. O'Keefe forced to cover the inside at turn 2. Definitely not what he was thinking. Amond around the outside, but that's just the lack of downforce on display. And now we'll have to be worried because Dylan Yip right there. And this is where the lack of downforce is going to hurt, as that is one of the cars very, very far off the circuit. Not quite sure who that is, as Brock Gilchrist is actually dropping down the timing screens as well now. Oscar Target's past Enzo Trulli. Was that Enzo Trulli in the gravel trap? Oh my goodness. And that will mix up the fight for second in the championship as well. Hugo Ellis is suddenly in a podium position. Motorsports is crazy. How quickly things can turn on a dime. And so Dylan O'Keefe is now hunting for a podium spot. Pegged back from his issues in qualifying after losing the front splitter. In both of the separate 15-minute qualifying sessions that we have. And yes, it is. Enzo Trilli walks away from the stricken Toro Racing 99. He looks despondent. So was there a mechanical issue? Because that's the only reason I can think of. He would drive that far off the track to keep us green. Brock Gilchrist is still running, albeit scored down now in 11th position overall. My goodness. Well, Steve's got some digging up to try and do in our post-race coverage. Are we going to get a look? Well, that's the aftermath. That's what we saw initially. As there goes Marcus Armand up the inside of Adrian De Silva. Brock Gilchrist came into pit lane. So did he lock up one of his tires and required a change of the Michelins? Well, Dylan Pereira's now got a 15-second advantage, but this race has been anything but simple for him. Managing the conditions, he has done a superb job. No other way to describe it. You'll run out of superlatives to talk about the season that Dylan Pereira has had. Even with some issues mixed into the way. There's a couple of rounds of the championship where he didn't get much practice, if any at all. But even with that, never held him back. I remember Bong Sen, he had, I think, 2 laps of practice across our free practice sessions because of electrical issues. Went out and qualified on pole position by about 0.6 of a second. Sometimes when things aren't going your way on the weekend, you make them go your way. And that's what Dylan Pereira, sometimes, it seems like he has done. He's on the 26th lap of the race right now. And so as he enters the final sector for another trip around the circuit, this should officially be 2 laps left to go for the race leader. And that means 2 laps left for everybody else to try and grab some Endurance Cup points. Yen Chuang is being pressured by Eric Kwong for 3rd in the AM class. That was Team Jebsen's Rodrigo Diaz Almeida working himself past some lap traffic. Dylan Yip's also only got a couple of laps left to try and make his move. Dylan O'Keefe's gone the long way around at the penultimate corner. Doesn't quite work out. He's going to have to try another way to find a podium and steal it away from the brick wall so far that is Hugo Ellis. Has done a great job defending in the Sign Motors Racing number 38. And he knows that this is his chance to close the gap on Enzo Trilli as well. Oscar Target and Dylan O'Keefe will not score points in the championship, and that means Hugo Ellis will finish 3rd on the road, will finish 2nd in terms of points. So he will close by 20 points on Enzo Trilli going into the final rounds of the championship. Their gap coming into this race, 20 points. The fight for second is going to come all the way down to the wire. It will be the best driver takes second in 2 races on the streets of Marina Bay. But what a weekend it has been so far here at the Mandalika International Circuit, and we've still got one more trip around this great circuit left. 4.3 odd kilometers, 17 turns. And what a challenge it has been for our drivers. Not just with the temperatures soaring here in the Endurance Cup event, but its layout, challenging by nature. inviting the drivers to run off the track on occasion as well. And while it's not going to be part of our schedule in 2026, it has been a great treat for the drivers to come here, to be by the beach once again, and to go racing for 3 great races. Yen Chuang still fends off Eric Kwong. They're not far off of Hubo as well on this final lap of the race. Eric Kwong doesn't need to make his way past technically to hold on to what would be an Endurance Cup Championship win. But he'd like to try and score a few more points in the overall scheme of things in that AM Championship. A weekend that I'm sure Dylan Pereira will not forget for several reasons. For how race 1 and 2 were maybe a bit more of a struggle, but the team responded. After race 1, worked late into the night, found the gremlins, and even a spin in race 2 couldn't stop Dylan Pereira from grabbing himself the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia Championship. It's going to be a 9th victory for the Team Shanghai Honda BWT machine, as Dylan Pereira up front celebrates his already secured championship with yet another race victory. He's in fact going to have to do one more lap, I would think, based on what's popped up on the top left of the timing screens. As traffic pulls out of the way, 4 cars all fighting for the final step on the podium. Hugo Ellis, Dylan O'Keefe, Marcus Amond and Dylan Yip. The 4-car train with 1 lap left to go. So 1 lap left as well for Yen Chuang to hold off Eric Kwong. A couple of things still developing on this last lap. Now Marcus Amond has really gotten to grips with the limits of grip that the car has got, and he's starting to hustle the back of Dylan O'Keefe. And this is what you wanted to see, the fight back, as I was mentioning, from the young Finn. Showing us that he can adapt and respond to the changing nature of the car. Here we go though. Up front, after securing himself the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia Overall Championship earlier today, Dylan Pereira does the double, grabs a race victory and locks up the Endurance Cup here at the Mandalika International Circuit. Team Shanghai Honda BWT loves it. And it wasn't just Dylan Pereira, let's not forget, that celebrates. Bao Jinlong will do so as well. He'll grab the Pro-Am Championship, both in the overall season and in the Endurance Cup as well. The fight all the way to the end. We'll see Oscar Target hold on to second, and then some margin further back, as Hugo Ellis is going to hold on to third. A great drive from him in that Sign Motors Racing number 38. Dylan O'Keefe will be very happy with this 4th position to fight his way back after qualifying, while Marcus Amond, 2 victories and a 5th place with some damage to the car. What a way to introduce himself into the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Here comes Bao Jinlong to cross the line and officially secure himself the Endurance Cup Championship in the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Big margin as well that he'll have over Francis Chia, as Francis locks down some good points to grab second in the Pro-Am class heading into the final round. Here comes Henry Kwong. We'll get confirmation of how things have shaken up. But while he wins this 3rd and final race of the weekend, with his brother Eric moving his way up to 4th in class, that should be just enough to lock up the Endurance Cup in the AMs. Jackie Wu's going to win by a considerable margin in the Masters class as well, so a very impressive effort from him to steal the bragging rights. And I'm trying to do the mental calculations as quickly as I can. because it is very, very close between Christian Chia and Adrian De Silva for the Masters Endurance Cup points. But it's all eyes at the front of the field, where Dylan Pereira climbs out of his car. A 9th race victory in the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. And a weekend to remember as Oscar Target pulls in and just avoids hitting the door of that number 5. Tell you what, I'm sure all of these drivers are drained after that race, and I don't blame them. It means they can finally celebrate and enjoy the champagne after a very, very long weekend, I'm sure, for them. Here comes the team to celebrate. What an effort from the entire Phantom Global Racing crew. And Dylan Pereira immediately works on the hydration. 22 seconds clear of the rest of the field in the Team Shanghai Honda BWT machine. A reminder of just why he has been the dominant force in 2025. Oscar Target second, great drive from him, and one that he will not forget. His first podium in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. And in front of Hugo Ellis, who does exactly what he needed to and makes things interesting in the fight for second going into the last 2 races of the season. Dylan O'Keefe fourth, Marcus Amon fifth, with Dylan Yip and Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida, the rest of the pros at the front of the field. Bao Jinlong eighth. I'm sure he'll be hoping that he can narrow that gap to the pros, even though he's running in the Pro-Am class in front of Francis Chia, with Henry Kwong victorious in the Am class with Hubo Yenchuang, and then Eric Kwong down in 4th in the Am category. Roy Tang behind him, with Josh Rowledge recovering after needing a change of left front tyre. He finishes in front of the Masters winner Jackie Wu, with Adrian De Silva, Christian Chia, and then Brock Gilchrist and John Shen. Steve Dawson's ready to catch up with those in Parc Ferme. Let's head down to him.
Dylan Pereira, 2025 champion and winner of the last race of the weekend here in Mandalika. A different kind of celebration. I sense a lot of relief, a little bit of frustration built up. Now released, surely.
Definitely. So, yeah, we worked, like I said before already in other races, we worked hard, and already for race 2 we had the car was working. So, yeah, I think I could prove the pace today again. Yeah, car was amazing until the end. At the end, I still had some issues. I was losing power somehow, maybe because of the temperature. Also power steering losing. So, in this heat, even worse. So, the last 10 laps more or less, I was driving without power steering. So, makes it quite tough, but at the end we made it P1, and really happy about that.
No power steering for the last 10 laps means that's a lot of sapped energy from your body, right? I mean, that means you have to employ physicality.
I think it looks like, but definitely it goes to the safe mode somehow when it overheats, so it's like kind of 50%, so still drivable, but it's like, yeah, it's really, really crazy. It's really a big difference, especially if you go over 10 laps. It makes you tired, but at the end I made it work somehow, and happy about that.
Very exciting start. Just tell us about that first corner.
Yeah, I was bump drafting Marcus at the beginning, so that truly could not pass, but truly had a good start. So at the end he was pretty much being in front of me, but then P1 and P2, like Marcus, and truly braked a little too late. And I said, okay, thank you guys, it's for me. And and after that, I was trying to focus to save the tires a bit up the beginning, and at the end, try to be consistent until the end. And I think saving tires at the beginning was worth it.
We'll see you in Singapore.
Definitely.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Wow, whoa. No power steering, even at 50% safe mode. That, I think, explains a little bit about why he was hydrating immediately, needed to replenish some of the fluid after working so hard. That, like I was saying earlier in the day, I think during race 2, sometimes air conditioning systems and cool suits that drivers have in their cars often have issues as well, and the worst case is it blows hot air at you for the entirety of the race, which sounds very, very arduous indeed. But this is racing. Sometimes, things don't work as expected, and it's about how the team and the drivers respond. The team responded well after race 1 to dig in and find the issue that Pereira felt was there. and then Dylan did the job today to wrap the championship up in the second sprint race of the weekend and grabbing his victory to close things out. Let's go back down to Steve, catch up with yet another driver, Bao Jinlong.
Bao Jinlong already crowned as 2025 Pro-Am champion and winner again here in Mandalika. Again, you look tired, but again, you came out on top, Jinlong. How was that race for you?
Yes, very tough race because my front lost. So I don't have any downforce in the high-speed corner.
When did that happen?
The first 3 laps, I think. I don't know where. And then after 3 laps, I have no grip at the front. I'm happy I learned how to drive without the front.
Yeah. A lot of adjustments for you this weekend. Will we see you in Singapore?
Yes, for sure.
Look forward to seeing you then. Well done.
Thank you.
Another driver finding himself without a front splitter. So maybe there's just a particular line where the way that you bounce over the curbs is causing some sort of resonant frequency or something that's just shaking the car loose if you hit it too many times. But yeah, that's definitely something that, you know, you hear it from one driver, it's one thing, but now 3 different drivers, we've heard about it, 2 in this particular race itself. It probably leads me to believe it's more common than we were initially anticipating. Back down to Steve. I think he's hopefully catching up with one of our AM drivers.
Jackie Wu is with Sammy and myself, winner of the last race here in Mandalika. It's always been competitive, this Masters category this weekend. Tell us about your race.
可以跟我们说一下你今天的比赛如何？就是这个组别一直都竞争很激烈，对吧？
今天的比赛，我比赛奇怪，我每次要么不完赛，要么被撞，要么第1名完赛，我好像跟中间没什么缘分，所以我可能要去烧香拜佛一下。
I think I should pray to the God because I always either do not finish the race or I end up in a crash or I end up the first place.
It must be particularly special then to finish the race that's an endurance race. I mean, this was a long one, very tiring.
是的，因为就是尤其这是耐力赛，我觉得你的表现应该很好，就是你完成比赛还得到第1名。
是啊，因为有可能确实是一个体力的表现，但运气也好，说真的，运气也好，谢谢。
Yes, I think it's a test for stamina. It takes good stamina, but I also think it's because I'm lucky. Very good.
More than just luck, I think. Well done, Jackie.
Thank you.
Great to catch up with Jackie Wu, and yeah, he's not wrong. This has been a kind of season where either at the front or unfortunately in the wars, and broke away from the rest of his class in the early stages. That was really what set the tone for him to be able to just settle into the rhythm. So quick catch up with our Masters winner, and I think Steve's now making his way over to the AM part of the celebrations as well. So let's go back down to Steve Dawson, who has indeed found a very happy Henry Kwong.
Well, once again, the amateur drivers provided us with some tremendous entertainment. This time, Henry dueling not just with his brother, but a couple of other drivers here who finished 2nd and 3rd respectively. How does it feel to be a double winner on this Sunday?
Well, it's very exciting. And it's been a very long time. It didn't have this happen on a Sunday. Very nice. And it's a long run. I have so much confidence on the car and the track, and the team was so great. So when you get a chance, you take it and then bring it home.
You say it's been a long time happening on a Sunday, and that may well be the case, but consistent driving from you during the course of the whole season means that as we move into Singapore, this is a very, very competitive championship, isn't it? And you could win this.
Yes, of course, everybody got a chance, but we need to last until the last lap before the checker flag. Yeah. Then you will know. Of course, we push until the end.
Okay. Are you racing off to get home tonight, or can you relax in this beautiful island?
No, I need to go back home, back to work.
All right. Well, enjoy the champagne at least in the next few minutes.
Thank you.
He is 100% right. The championship will go down to the wire for the AM drivers. There is no ifs or buts about it. Even if Munkong Satintirukun returns, this round, missing 3 races, does close things up. So it's going to be a very, very interesting season showdown as the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia relinks with the Formula One paddock. That's all to come though. But before all of that, let's take a look at some of the highlights of a spectacular Endurance Cup round from the Mandalika International Circuit. They were playing bumper cars up to turn one. Dylan Pereira pushing Marcus Amon, Enzo Trilli pinching down to the inside, and as they got onto the brakes for the very first time, 2 by 2 into that fast right-hander. After 2 flag-to-flag victories, Marcus Amon made his first mistake, overcooked the corner, and guess who? Dylan Pereira sweeps up the inside from third to first in the blink of an eye. Some good fights a little bit further back through the field. Diaz Almeida and Hugo Ellis went door to door for quite a bit before Team Jebsen's 55 locked the left front. A similar sort of story for a whole handful of drivers, including a couple that needed to come down to pit lane and get their flat-spotted tyre repaired. One of them including Josh Rowledge, who then had to charge his way back up through the field in what was an impressive recovery drive. Turns out Marcus Amon had a bit of damage. He had lost the front splitter on his car, and the lack of downforce was costing him. You could see the struggles that he was having, and through traffic, struggles to even stay within the track surface itself. Dylan O'Keefe would take that opportunity to slip his way past. Oscar Target would work on the back end of New Zealander Brock Gilchrist and then finally make his way up the inside at turn 12 before Brock Gilchrist also had to come down pit lane, we think, for a flat-spotted tyre change. Eric Kwong fought his way back after an issue at the start of the race, had a fun fight with Roy Tang that ended with a pass at turn 10, and unfortunately for Enzo Trilli, sitting second on the road, went deep in the corner, and a DNF for him sees the fight for second in the championship close, especially given that Hugo Ellis grabbed some great points on the road as he held up the advances of the rest of his competitors. But Dylan Pereira taking the lead through the opening corner and never looking back at the Mandalika International Circuit. So Bibendum has made his way up to the podium. Let's go down to Sammy and celebrate our winners.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium presentation for round 12 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2025 in Pertamina Mandalika International Circuit, Lombok, Indonesia. Let's get ready to invite the winners for the Masters class. On third place, we have driver number 88, Christian Chia from Open Road Racing. Second place, driver number 61, Adrian De Silvia from EBM. And the winner goes to driver number 69, Jackie Wu from Porsche Own Retail 619. May I now invite Mr. Alexander Riedel, the Senior General Manager of Porsche Indonesia, to please present the winner trophy. And next, I would like to invite Mr. Fabian Hirsch, the Managing Director of DSV Contract Logistics Indonesia, to present the second place trophy. And next up, I would like to invite Mr. Alphonse Abikaryano, the Technical Support Michelin Indonesia, to present the third place trophy. May I kindly invite all of the award presenters to join our winners on the podium to take a group photo together, please. Together with Michelin. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yay! Thank you very much to all of our award presenters. Thank you very much, award presenters. We are going to get ready for some champagne shower.
A hearty congratulations to the drivers who now take a bit of a breather, enjoy this success, and return for those final 2 rounds of the championship with the visit to the Singapore Grand Prix. Should be a very exciting race, of course. It's an interesting track layout for these Porsche Cup cars to go racing around. But before that, we've got some more podiums. Back down to Sammy.
On third place, we have driver number 27, gentlemen, Yan Chuang from Phantom Global Racing. Second place, we have driver number 22, Hu Guang from 610 Racing. And the winner goes to driver number 91, Henry Kwong from Triple Ace Racing. May I kindly invite Mr. Alexander Riedel to please present the winner trophy to our winner. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Fabian Hirsch to please present the second place trophy. And next, I would like to invite Mr. Alphonse Abicariono, the Technical Support Michelin Indonesia, to present the third place trophy. And now I would like to invite all of the award presenters to please join the winners on the podium. Let's take a group photo together. Big smiles, 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much to all of our award presenters. Let's get ready for another champagne celebration.
And based on our two previous races of the weekend, we will have one final podium where we combine the Pro and the Pro-Am celebrations together into one giant party. It's going to be busy up there on the podium, both with Bibendum, the Michelin Man, and all the 5 drivers, and the Porsche dealer representative as well, and the checks that will be broken out for those pro drivers. So we'll get back down to Sammy in just a few moments' time as we get set to wrap things up from Mandalika. A magical first trip for the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia to this circuit. Bit sad that we won't be back here, unfortunately, in 2026, but who knows? A great racing facility building its own history in Indonesian motorsports, and maybe we will see the return sooner rather than later. I'm sure the Porsche Sprint Challenge Indonesia will come back. It'll be exciting to see how that continues to grow and to develop. Final checks on the podium as one of the bottles gets swapped around. Hard-working support team that makes all this possible. And a big thank you to the marshals, all the engineers, the series staff, and the broadcast team. It's a village that comes together to put these events on. And a big thank you to everyone for enduring the heat today and making it all happen. Back down to Sammy for a final podium today.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to invite the winners for the overall class. On third place, we have driver number 38, Hugo Ellis from Sign Motors Racing. On second place, we have driver number 76, Oscar Target from EBM. And the winner, driver number 5, Dylan Pereira from Team Shanghai Yongda VWT. And of course, the dealer trophy winner goes to Team Shanghai Yongda VWT. Now may I kindly invite Mr. Alexander Riedel to please present the winner trophy and the check. And to present the dealer trophy as well. And I would also like to invite Mr. Fabian Hirsch to please present the second place trophy together with a check. Now may I invite Mr. Alphonse Abicariono to please present the third place trophy and also the check. I invite all of the award presenters to join them for a group photo, please? So everybody come closer for a group photo. Okay, everybody, big smiles, thumbs up! Ready? 1, 2, 3! Thank you very much to our award presenters. For our winners, please hold. We're going to collect the check. Hold on for the shower. We're going to invite the winners for the Pro-Am class. I would like to invite the second place for Pro-Am class. We have driver number 21, Francis Chia from Open Road Racing. And the winner, driver number 7, Mao Jinlong from BWT Phantom Global Racing. May I now invite Mr. Alexander Riddle to please present the winner trophy. And to invite Mr. Fabian Hirsch to present the second place trophy. And I would like to invite all of the winners together with the award presenters. Let's take one group photo together. Everybody, big smiles. Hold your trophy up high. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's almost champagne time. 5 bottles. Let's go. Celebration. Congratulations again to all of our winners for round 12 in Mandalika. Thank you everyone. We will see you at the press conference shortly. For all of the drivers, we will meet you at the press conference.
A chance for our drivers to finally enjoy and revel in what has been a super weekend at Mandalika. We'll be back in action the 3rd through 5th of October. 2 more races at the Marina Bay Street Circuit to close the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, with Dylan Pereira, Bao Jinlong crowning themselves as overall and Pro-Am champions with races to spare. A great weekend from the Mandalika International Circuit. It's almost done. Our 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Can't wait to rejoin the Formula One paddock and close things out at Singapore. Arjuna Kanki Party saying so long for the team behind the scenes. See you in a couple of weeks' time.